What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My apologies for getting this video out a little bit later than I wanted to. I wanted to get it out before the weekend, but, you know, work has been work. But yeah, let's talk about Set 3 Datacrons for a little bit. I want to kind of focus on BAM. The next several videos, actually, I want to try and get as many videos as I can out this week, but the next several videos I want to focus on talking about the whole Fennec lead versus Sign of Django lead for Lord Vader counters. And I think that this set of Datacrons, especially with BAM's level 9, is going to be a really good way to transition over to the Sign of Django counter and kind of leaving Fennec lead behind. Because Fennec lead is a lot easier to do, but in my opinion, it's very expensive and it kind of butchers 2 to possibly 3 different teams. Versus Sign of Django, most people aren't even using them in GC anyways. They're kind of just sticking them wherever. But yeah, let's get right into it. All right, so first things first, let's talk about the Datacron for BAM. There are 2 level 9 choices, and I kind of want to go over them today. I'm still working on mine, as you guys can see. I only have, speaking of C, I have my C1. It's not the best. It's the extra health, which, you know what, that might be good. I don't know, but I am a little bit behind on rolling, so I need to catch up pretty much in the next day before GC starts. So let's talk about the level 3 first. I want to talk about the best level 3. Like I want to show you guys how to craft, like, in my opinion, the best Datacron for BAM, because I do believe that BAM might actually end up with Rey, because Rey's Datacron is going to be expiring after 5v5. So you kind of have to start thinking about replacement Datacrons, especially for like Lord Vader, Rey, all of the ones from set 1. So light side, the one that I really like the most is the middle one, where it says whenever light side allies gain tenacity up, they gain 10% bonus. I'm sorry, they gain 10% protection up, stacking for 2 turns. That's gonna be really important with BAM, because as you guys know, every time he does Wanderer of the Force, he cleanses all debuffs, and then he puts tenacity up on himself as well as the character he targets. So let's go over the level 6. The 2 that I like the most is the second from the top and the second from the bottom. So we'll start with the one I like the most. First is whenever Mandalorian allies recover health, they recover protection equal to that amount of health recovered. Mandalorians cannot recover protection this way more than once per turn if their health was full. So if we're running the Dadbod Boba counter, where you have Fennec and then you have the BAM trio with IG and Quill, IG's heal is pretty much going to be recovering a lot of BAM's protection at that point. And then you have to also remember that Quill heals, and then you have to take in consideration health steal as well. Although if you have the cooldown reset, BAM's is going to be under damage immunity like forever, which is going to be really cool. But I think that's going to be a really great way just to add even more survivability to BAM. I mean, we're already going to be equalizing everyone's protection through Wanderer of the Force, and then they recover 20% more protection. So, and then if you roll the level 3 that I mentioned earlier, you're going to have 10% protection up stacking for 2 turns every time you get tenacity up, which is going to happen very often. The second one I do like is at the end of each turn, Mandalorian allies recover health and protection equal to 50% of the amount enemies recover that turn. So at first I was thinking, well, there's not a whole lot of people that heal in this game, but then I completely forgot that there's this little mechanic called lifesteal. And if you're going up against a Lord Vader team, they're probably running lifesteal. So that's kind of like I don't want to say like an anti, but it's kind of like a way to benefit off your opponent's lifesteal. BAM is going to get health and protection equal to half of that health steal, which is kind of cool, and that's every turn. So it's almost like BAM has this built-in Barris mechanic, if that makes sense. It's kind of cool. I mean, the more I talk about that one, the more I kind of like that a little bit more, but I think you can go with either or. All right, so let's get to the good stuff, the level 9s. I think they're all good, but I think there's 2 that really stand out to me. So the first one is Super Birds, is what I like to call it. But basically, when Mando enters his poop stance, as people like to say, he essentially turns into Rey. He essentially turns into Rey's alt, where it's gonna happen. His birds are gonna. You cannot prevent the birds. You can't. The only thing that you can do, if you see this on defense, which I will talk about why I don't think the first one's actually good on defense. I think it's more of an offense mechanic. It could be on defense, but I think that's going to be like in a later season, because I do think this might pair well with Rey. I think this level 9 could be the new Rey Datacron, because if you put BAM with Rey and you run like Rey Scoundrels, it's going to be really hard to recover from pretty much 2 back-to-back Ray ults, if that makes sense. However, the only way you get around this is if you force Bam to take one of his bonus turns. Because as you know, anytime someone drops below, or a scoundrel drops below 75% health, he takes a bonus turn. So if he goes into his stance, he gets 5 birds. You can trigger his bonus turn. He's only going to have 6 birds. Now, 6 birds may not seem like a whole lot, but if they're doing more damage per stack, depending on what you're taking in against this, I don't know, but it's still kind of scary. It's literally Ray's ultimate, but for whistling birds. Now, the one I really want to focus on talking about is the second one. At the start of each Mandalorian, at the start of the Mandalorian Beskar Armor's turn, they reset their cooldowns and lose 5% health for each ability that was reduced. So it's not reset by 1. It's like your cooldowns don't exist anymore. Now, if he loses health every time this happens, I'm a little bit worried to see like how low his health will be, but it says he can't be defeated this way. So I mean, if you're just spamming damage immunity the whole time, I think you're good. And I think that's going to be really, really interesting because, you know, like I said, damage immunity puts tenacity up, so you'll be stacking the bonus protection. So I mean, he might just have like 1 point of health left, but he's going to have the biggest protection pull ever. And then Fennec. You guys have to remember, Fennec ramps every time she gets tenacity up. I'm gonna get both of them. I would suggest for those of you that can, I would say get both. Depending on how the meta shifts, especially as we're about to lose set 1, you know, you might want to, you know, go for the birds over the cooldown reduction. It really depends on what the needs are for your roster. All right, so I want to talk about a couple of squads real quick. So this is the Lord Vader squad, the Lord Vader counter that I run all the time. This is what I run in 5v5. I've been running this since Sina Django has dropped in the game day 1, okay? The reason I run this squad is because this is how Sina Django was meant to be ran. Same thing with Fennec. If you look at Fennec's unique here, where she ramps her offense, you know, a lot of people run her with Bam under Fennec lead, and that's perfectly fine, but you're not... If Sina Django's in the lead, you get so much more benefits. She starts with Bounty Hunter's Resolve, so she's going to ignore taunt. She's going to get a second life, and then on top of that, her offense ramp doubles. So if anytime she gets tenacity up, she's going to get 10%. If Bam is present, it's 20%. If Sina Django's in the lead and Bam's present, it's a 40% ramp. It doubles every time. So I think this is a very hard counter. I really haven't made a whole lot of guides on it. I've just kind of been helping people that message me. I know people that have been able to pull this off with my guidance, and you don't need Relic 9s, by the way. But this is my favorite team. That's a whole separate different video, but this is my favorite team in the whole game. I think this is going to be your new Lord Vader counter for the time being. And like I said, I think with the new level 9 Datacron for Bam, I think it's going to be like a nice way to like transition some of you guys over. Because this counter, I'm not lying, this counter took me like 2 weeks to learn. And I'm talking 2 weeks of maxing out arena refreshes, and even then I was still fine tuning it for like a month. I also want to show you guys like what some of the more popular Lord Vader's counters are. So I title them expensive and too expensive. So and this is why I'm trying to get more people to run this counter, not because I think it's cool. I mean, like I said, it's my favorite team, but you're already using Fennec and you're already using Bam. I mean, you might as well use the rest of the team. A lot of people aren't using Sina Django. This is not a very hard team to mod either. Like I said, I'll go more in depth on a separate video on how to get this team rolling. I think with the Bam's level 9 though, it's going to be very easy. Being able to throw damage immunity out pretty much anytime Bam takes a turn, you are cleansing everybody. You're removing turn meter from their team, possibly removing turn meter from their team. And on top of that, like, you're just ramping either Fennec, you're ramping Bam's bonus protection up or whatever it is, or sorry, protection up, not bonus protection, protection up. But it's just gonna be a lot easier. I don't want to use the expression training wheels, but I that's kind of like how I view that level 9 Datacron. Now, some of these other teams, like you said, you guys could also run this. If you're rostered, if you say, hey, I don't need that, I don't have those squads, you can totally run these squads. But like I said, these are very expensive. I think here, the one that says too expensive, I think you're pretty much butchering like 3 different teams there. You're not going to run a bounty hunter team without Bossk and Grief. You also have Bam here in Fennec, and then Mando. You're pretty much getting rid of all your key components. So like when I look at that squad, I think that's like 2 to 3 teams worth of characters. The one right above it, I think that's 2 teams worth of characters. Now let's talk about what you do with your bounty hunters now as the alternative. Malgus, maybe. This is the Malgus counter I am going to attempt. I have done my homework. I think I can do it, but like I said, I won't know until I try. But that's the whole point. The whole point is to free up your bounty hunters, guys, because I feel like bounty hunters are this team that have been pretty much married to as a Lord Vader counter. You know, they bounty hunters have pretty much been taking that Lord Vader for a while, and it's, you know, it works with people. A lot of people like it, but I think you can use your bounty hunters elsewhere. And the other thing too about the Sign of Django lead, I have yet to find a Lord Vader team that hard counters it. That's the best thing about the squad. I think it is a much harder counter to learn, but the benefits are there's no hard counter. I fought teams with Canderous, I fought teams with Inquisitors, I have fought teams with Gideon, and it really doesn't matter what the Lord Vader comp is. It really doesn't. The team plays the same. The team has one objective, and like I said, I'll go more in depth on that on a separate video. But I just want to show you guys that you guys have this option now with that level 9 BAM Datacron. Sorry for the late upload. Like I said, I'm going to have more content coming out this week, kind of focusing on the BAM Datacron and Sign of Django, and kind of like what my plans are going forward with this new Datacron set. I think good old Maurice said it best on one of his Monday night streams, where he said, you know, set 3 is all about quality versus quantity. Set 2 was nuts. Set 1 was kind of like a, you know, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. But definitely set 3, you want to get those, like, I don't want to say perfect Datacrons, but you want to get those, like, those level 3s and 6s and 9s that work perfectly with each other. I'm not too worried about the stats for set 3. But yeah, no, I think set 3 is going to be good. I like how there's less to do, I guess, less Datacrons to roll, which means you should be able to focus more on re-rolling. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, then the next video will be covering the whole Sign of Django lead against Lord Vader count. Like I said, it's my favorite team in the entire game. At Celebration, I met CG Mouse, the guy who made Sign of Django's kit, and he's an awesome dude. He's an awesome dude. But yeah, no, I love the team so much. I can talk about that team all day, but I'm gonna have to cut it here. But yeah, guys, be sure to like, subscribe, share this video with your guild, and 5v5 is back. So good luck, and we'll see you in the next video.